Welcome everyone to TeachMePCB. I'm Mark, the creator of TeachMePCB and one of the co-facilitators of this year's course, where we are making macro keypads. But I've got great news for you. Today, you get to meet the other co-facilitator, my friend Jesse Robinson. Jesse, hi!
Hello, how's it going, Mark?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Finally finished my busy activity that I was working on, so.
Yeah, well, I hope next week you'll be able to share with the class, because I think it's very cool what you were just working on. So maybe tell us a little bit about yourself for people who don't know you yet.
I'm an electrical engineer. I've played in many CAD programs over the past 12 years, I think I've been, 11 or 12 years. I've used Mentor Graphics, I've used OrCAD Allegro, I've used a little bit of Altium, and I'm doing Altium again, but I didn't want to have to use like my work CAD programs at home. So I found out about KiCad and picked that up and took the first TeachMePCB class to teach myself, like force myself to learn KiCad, and ended up helping you out a bit, and we're helping you run the next one. So that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, I would say more than a bit, Jesse. You were certainly the standout star, and I know everyone who participated last year was very grateful for your support and positive attitude with everything. It was really great meeting you last year in the course, and I'm very happy to have you with me today. For those of you that don't know Jesse or don't know what we did last year we made little name badges, and Jesse's was the one that we used as our marketing sample. Jesse, I mean, we had a competition. Jesse destroyed it. It was incredible. Did you want to tell them what you invented?
Yeah, so for the contest, it was come up with an interesting way to do badge-to-badge communication. And I thought about a couple different methods and settled on doing UART, but over an ultrasonic link. So I put together a proposal about cost and feasibility and speed and all that other stuff. Put that together, and that ended up winning the contest. And then I ended up making it successfully. Rev 3 is waiting to be put together, but Rev 2, I was sending messages about 8 feet, which was pretty good. It goes pretty slow, but it's amazing that I can just, it's transparent. It's a transparent UART link. It's all done in analog. You basically, there's a UART in, UART out. You just hook it to a micro and it sends its message and hopefully gets it there uncorrupted, and it's pretty neat. And version 3 hopefully will do 15 feet because I'm gonna boost up the voltage more using some methods I saw like on SparkFun and such for their ping sensors.
Yeah, it was very cool, man. Very cool. So let me give you a quick rundown of this week, and then we'll open it up for questions. We're on live stream and YouTube. We're not on LinkedIn right now. So if you have any comments you want to leave on YouTube, they'll come in. If you want to join us on the live stream, I'd love to click in the Discord under live stream. You can click and come in. So we are making our badges. However, I'm not badges, I'm sorry, our macro keypads. However, I don't want you to make a rectangular one. Anybody can make a rectangular one, and in fact, rectangular ones have been done. Anybody can make a brain one. You can't make a brain one. Brain ones have been done. You have Warhammer handy? I didn't tell you we were doing
that. Yeah.
Okay, anybody can make a skull. Skulls have been done. You can't do it. It's over. You got to come up with an original design that isn't any one of the ones that we just showed. Part of engineering is art. And the tendency is, as engineers, is to suppress that instinct, right? Rectangular all day long, low risk. But it's not fun. We want you guys to have a little bit of fun with this. And you are going to get a chance to decide what these switches are. Like here, you've got some membrane switches. I don't particularly care for it. Here, we've got key switches. You can do those. It doesn't have to be that, though. You could use light switches. You know, you can come up with an overhead aircraft control system if you want to. You can do 10 switches. You can do 50. I don't really care. This is your job. And we actually have a guest here who is going to tell us a little bit about what he was thinking. So I'm going to bring on Elliot. And Elliot, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself? He's one of our course participants.
Yep, I'm a product manager for an online retailer. This is not my profession, so I'm just here to learn some new things. And as an expert at such technical things as, I don't know, sharing my screen, I've printed out some screenshots, but I've got a couple ideas I can share. First was thing that popped into my head was not a rectangle, was something. I'm going to hold a piece of paper up to the screen. These are super cool, guys. So this was the first idea that popped into my head. Something, not a rectangle, obviously a circle. And was thinking about ways to get a NeoPixel to shine through a button. And it seemed really hard to do with at least a key switch. So what I've come up with here is this toilet seat design. And I was thinking maybe 3D printing with a resin printer, some light pipes, and be able to illuminate sort of the lights next to the buttons there from a surface mounted LED.
That is really cool. What is it going to be? So we've got a rotary encoder in the middle. We've got the light switches around the edge. What is this going to be for? What do you envision it doing?
Yeah, so I think one of the best uses for a rotary encoder is going to be, I mean, volume is the obvious one. So I think we can do something pretty slick with like in Windows using Alt-Tab and being able to quickly switch back and forth between applications. And, you know, it's got a switch in there so you can hold it down, do some other stuff, but be a cool way of just getting around.
Okay, so yeah, Alt-Tab takes you to the right, and is it Control-Alt-Tab takes you to the left?
If you hold Alt-Tab, the arrow cursor keys will move you all around, and it actually brings up a little set of every screen you have open. So you could just, I don't know, we can program the thing so when you click once, it lets you navigate through everything in any direction, and then click again, select your app. So.
Oh, that is really cool. I like that. What made you come up with this, or how did you come up with this?
I don't know. Just looking at the selections of buttons and knobs, it seemed like an obvious choice. Nothing special.
Okay, no, I mean, I think that's great. It's totally different than what I thought of. So the way that Adafruit does it, for those of you that don't know, I'm going to highlight myself here and go to an overhead screen. So the way that they do it with a regular switch, there's a little gap on the back side that I can show you. Where is it? There's this little hole right back there. And what they do is put a reverse mount LED right on the back side, and it's designed such that it shines through that hole and up, and then it'll illuminate the entire plastic. We aren't doing that with our design. We just have regular RGB LEDs, 50/50s that are nice, big, and easy to solder. But you guys are free to do whatever it is that you want to do, and I will do my best to give you information on how to make that happen. Jesse, let's bring you back, buddy. Did you have any other ideas that people might try? If you didn't do Warhammer Skull, what might you have done?
Well, my original design was boring. It was going to be a row of, I think it was 9. It was a 3x3, and then I was going to have the two rotaries and then the extra button. It was going to be in a square because for all these pieces, it would have been the most efficient thing to do. And I guess I didn't know what I was going to use it for other than like CAD work. And maybe that one button flying out in the middle of nowhere could have been an escape button or something, because you use that frequently in CAD. But then I saw your brain and I knew I had to do something better.
Well, you want to know something? The initial design that I probably was going to do, just because I was so crunched for time, and Jesse knows how busy it's been since we started this, I was going to do a rectangle until one of our co-sponsors, Uri Shaked, who you guys will get to know more a little a little later on in the course. He's like, no, you can't. You just can't do it. And then he said, did he say a skull? I think he encouraged me to do a skull. And then I'm like, I don't really want a skull. Why don't I? And then I saw the TeachMePCB logo and I'm like, I'm just going to do that. That'll work perfectly. And it did. But time permitting, I will actually lay out another one because there are some problems with this design. I screwed some things up and you'll see videos on that too. All right.
I actually have my original design here. I can show you quick.
Sure.
Ooh.
And then we've got a couple.
Bam. All right, so this is my original design here. So this would have been the Pico. These were the switches. I think the gray is the actual keycaps. These are my NeoPixels. Rotary is my last switch. Quick connector. I think this was the light sensor, and then a USB-B, which I made Mark go to, funnily enough. And then despite him wanting to go with like USB-C or something, and then when I went to my Warhammer design, I went to a USB-C because I wanted it. I didn't want it to like sit so far off. I'm going to eventually laser cut a gear for the back. And it would have had to sit really far off for a USB-B because of how big and boxy that is. So.
Yep. So,
but
yeah,
I got punished for that because I ended up making a footprint for a Molex one, and I didn't see somewhere in the description it said that it was a mid mount, which means that you actually have to have a cutout in the PCB and sink it in. But I do have another one that'll work. It's a surface mount. I just had to cut off some bottom mounting nubs, but that happens.
Yeah,
you never get away with one rev.
Elliot, I wanted to thank you so much for your time, sir, and release you if you have other things to do this evening.
Right on. Thanks a lot.
No, hey, man, thank you. I appreciate your time. Take care. All right. We've also got a few other people ready to join us. It looks like we've got Brian, and we've got a couple quotes. So let me bring up Brian and... oh, you're muted, my friend.
That's better. So go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you, so what did you have in mind? Oh,
that is the shape of the board. That's the silk screen. The board will be just, a 1/10 of an inch bigger around all around the edge, partly to avoid things being sticking out and fragile. But it's going to be the right hand side is going to be a 3x4 rectangle, kind of like the Adafruit macro pad. And the next to that, I am going to put a display on it. Adafruit's got a 1.69 inch diagonal rounded rectangle display that looks pretty nice. That's just 11 pins that you have to put headers through. It also has the added benefit of having an SD card slot if I need it. And then the rotary encoder is going to be the end of the cow's nose. I mean, I'm seriously considering 3D printing an actual cow nose to turn to do it. And it's going to be a simple gaming platform for my grandkids to play with. I started doing that with the macro pad that I got back in the Ada box a couple months ago, but it's this will be better. It'll be fun to look at anyway. There'll be a 3D printed case around the back to keep all the pokey parts safe. There won't be much on the front side if I can avoid it.
I will be disappointed if I don't see a 3D printed cow's nose.
I just have to find a model or make a model or something.
Absolutely.
You got me started on that, by the way. You suggested 3D printing the horns, and that's probably also going to happen. I just haven't thought enough yet.
Well, the best way, in my opinion, for creativity to happen is it needs to be a group project. There needs to be some back and forth and some ideas bouncing around. Even bad ideas can lead to good ideas.
Or they get even worse and get implemented. That is how it goes.
That is how it goes. So, all right. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, I've got my, I know it's usually the last thing you do, but I've got my artwork imported into Fusion as the silk screen. And I've started on schematic with the stuff I know about, the key switches and the LEDs and the Pico. That's why I was looking this afternoon at that, the LED driver chip that isn't available.
Yeah.
I was going to place it on the board, but I can't get that one. I will send you one. The one that Adafruit uses is a different style of thing. It doesn't have a in and out on both sides. It just takes the input, and I think it's TTL level inputs, and puts out and then has a voltage reference for the output. So that's what they use on the MacroPad and a bunch of other places. So, and those actually, I don't know if they're available because on DigiKey, the search view says they have 219,000 of them in stock. The actual product page says 0. So I don't know what they have.
Yeah, that's weird. Well, there's a couple things we can do. I am going to work on a bomb for you. Let me bring myself back up here. So one of the things that we have that you guys don't know about yet is this. I haven't shared this yet, but this is a little airtight waterproof box O parts for TeachMePCB round 2. You see, what Jesse and I did, because we did realize there was a bit of a part shortage, as soon as we added parts to our design, I ordered them in quantity for the course. They're sitting on my credit card right now. I should be able to get that reimbursed by one of the sponsors, but we're going to have parts, one way or the other.
That's good.
It's just a difficult time to be an engineer, but you know something? That's what engineering is. It's never easy. You got to work the problem.
And you find, that's how some of the best things have been created, is finding the ways around the stuff you couldn't do.
Absolutely.
So if there's all sorts of stuff that we had a big shortage that they're going to have to redesign in half the world, and it would happen.
Yeah. So Brian, let's do a couple comments since we have them now. Moto says, I've been checking out VoidStar Labs Split Keeb, a board design which snaps in two to make a MacroPad option.
I've seen the pictures of that.
I haven't. I'll have to check that out. I've been head down typing content. Manuel says, what about little display buttons? Oh yeah, man, that would be expensive. You know what you could do, Manuel, that might be affordable, is get an old Stream Deck or maybe one of the smaller ones if you want to make your own, and actually just source it for parts. If you want to go that route, you've got some years in the business, so you know what all is involved in doing all of the desoldering and sourcing the device drivers and everything. But yeah, that's totally doable. What else do we have? There's some back and forth talking about that same VoidStar Lab thing. For Zach's thought, okay. I don't know if I understand this one, Moto. Maybe Brian, you can help me out. For Zach, VoidStar Lab. This is still VoidStar Lab. Okay. Yeah, you can absolutely use some sort of an input mux. You could certainly use a serial peripheral interface. GPIO expanders is another word for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely that. Bless your parts hoarding foresight. Yeah, that was one of my things. Clarkstar says, what's a keeb? Brian, what is a keeb?
Short for keyboard, of course. It
is.
I will admit that I'm not much on extra keyboard stuff. I like my just plain keyboard that I use at home. It's a nice one, but I don't use macros and that stuff very much. But that's how everything has been going the last 6 or 8 months, Adafruit has been making everything to do with keyboards. And everywhere else I look, people are doing keyboards. It's like, am I missing something?
It's one of those things that you can, and I believe that this happened because of the silicon shortage, right? They need to be able to make things with parts that are available to them. You can get a hold of switches. You even in the height of the silicon shortage, you could get a hold of the Raspberry Pi Pico. So why not go that way?
Yeah.
It was a good little way to do things. So
Yeah,
all
I
right.
ordered my Pico. It should be here this week sometime. I was putting together an Adafruit order for something else, and it just happened.
Yeah.
Things fall into my cart. I don't understand.
Well, they're $4.
Yeah.
It's affordable.
Yeah.
So why not? I've also got somewhere north of 40 of those to send out to course participants too. So once we figure out this week and we know what parts that, most of us are going with, I will update my order, top it off, see if there's anything missing, and then kit out and ship to as many people as we can afford to. So, all right. Do we have any other questions about the course or anything you're worried about or want to know for next week? Brian, Jess?
I was going to tell Jesse that the project I'm working on, that he kind of inspired me to, the light up D20 thing. Mm-hmm. I've got a hollow 3D printed D20 design to put 20 little LEDs in behind each space, and it will be able to behave as a Christmas ornament. You can hang it by the cord, and it'll sit there and flicker in whatever colors you tell it. Or if you tap it, it will roll a random number and light that number up on the side.
Cool.
So it will be popular for various people that I know. To learn Eagle, I took the Feather 2040 board from Adafruit and redesigned it with extra components for this extra stuff I wanted: the accelerometer, a speaker driver, and a couple other things, so I could just have one single board. And I've got that designed. I'm not sure I'm going to use it, but I could, actually just build a board that would be just to drive this thing. So it was an interesting project.
Very cool. This is Jesse's D20 part. I unfortunately don't have power ready to show it off. It just occurred to me that it's within arm's reach. But this is what I'll convince him to show you all next week. It should be a lot of fun.
Kind of like you, I based it like on a already available design. I basically just took an Arduino Uno and repurposed it for my dice lamp, just with only the components I need and stuff. And I think that's a good way to go about things. You start at the level where you're using off-the-shelf components and wiring them by hand, and then at some point you make your own board for it.
Yeah, because right now the first three are a Feather, or 2040, and they have the thing called the Prop Maker Feather Wing, which has got an accelerometer, a so-so amplifier for sound, and a couple other things that I'm going to use those for the first couple round, the actual Christmas presents that I'm making these for. But if I decide to make more of them, it might be a custom board. It might be just a Feather Wing that has just what I need on it, rather than spending the rest of my life soldering 2040s. I'd rather not do that.
Fair enough. Welcome, Emil.
Evening.
Hello. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
So we do have a question from Manuel. Is choosing parts the only task of this week, or should we start with the schematic as well? This week, Manuel, just to give you a little bit of a roadmap, all we're doing is choosing parts. There is another novel that I've written because I write. So that's about an hour of your time, of your 3 hours. And then the other 2 hours is picking parts for your design. And I've got a little module on that for you as well. The week after that, we're going to create some custom footprints. The week after that, we create a custom parts library. The week after that is when we capture the schematic. You obviously are kind of in the boat of Jesse and I. You've been doing this for a little while. Remember that most of our participants, this is their first time through things. They've got lives, they've got dogs in the background, grandkids. So trying to find the right pace for 450 people is something I don't know that I'm good at. I think if this enjoys the same level of popularity that we have now, maybe it's possible that we have cohorts running at different paces, right? One cohort's working 15 hours a week, the other one's working 3. That's doable. But right now, we're just trying to keep it approachable for everybody. And hi, Don. All right, Emil, welcome. What brings you by this evening?
Oh, I got an idea. I want to do the character from Diablo 2, Aiden. I think because I had this idea from the Skull of Warhammer. And I think that would be nice.
Sounds
It's a
fun.
similar skull.
Do you have a picture to show us?
Yeah. How do I share screen?
And it should
Share
give me
screen.
another screen here.
This one.
Maybe I better.
I don't. Yeah. Oh. This skull.
Ooh, spooky.
I don't know yet.
pretty
But
cool.
I feel like it should be done maybe with a bit of padding, so it doesn't is too slim at the bottom. I don't know yet.
To get grayscale, I've seen people do like the dot effect in their silk, and that's looked pretty good.
Mhm.
I don't personally know how to do that in Inkscape, but I'm sure there's a
Yeah, I can
plugin
do
to that.
black and white probably.
Okay.
Just basic, yeah. I think.
I have been amazed that there isn't just a bitmap import for silkscreen. That you can't just tell it, here's a picture.
There
What the heck?
is
What?
there is for KiCad. I don't know.
Well,
if
you
it
can do an
works-
SVG and have it convert it to polygons, but I just want to put, here's my PNG, put it on the board. Why is it so complicated that they can only draw polygons on the silk screen? What? I don't understand. So
Gerbers are kind of what all boards are made of.
yeah, and they're ancient.
They're absolutely ancient. And basically what a Gerber is, it has 2 parts. One is an aperture. That is a shape. And the other one is the polygons. So what would be a good way to put this? You know CAD, obviously, Brian. And
Right.
you know how you have all those XY coordinates? So apertures are kind of relative coordinates to a specific position. So
Right.
absolute positions are the polygons, and the apertures get traced out as they go over those absolute positions. So everything is vector. Gerber never really, to my knowledge, ever had anything to do with raster. So KiCad got built making those vectors, right? Doing that stuff. And now life has changed. Now we've got new data formats, and we can obviously convey so much more information than we ever could. It could just be that it takes them a little while to catch up and to do it well.
Because Jesse pointed out the KiCad plugin that takes an SVG. There, I posted the link is in the Eagle wiki. There's a similar thing for Eagle. That it's an online converter. You upload your SVG, and it spits out a script to create the polygons.
Mhm.
It works.
I think
There's a few
KiCad
things
by
that don't work, but
I think KiCad by itself also can take in a bitmap file, but it sucks.
it sucks badly. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I've heard and read. And
CorelDRAW has a bitmap tracing capability that I'm aware of.
yeah, it's okay. I find much better results manually doing it That's what I
Yeah.
did with the cow. Because my wife drew the cow, told her what I wanted, and she drew the cow, and I took a picture of it and manually traced it in Corel and made an SVG out of it. But
Very
it's weird because even the lines where you have what looks like just a line, unless you have a special thing to be to put in traces of a certain width, those are all polygons too. They're just narrow polygons all the way around the edge of the cow. So it's a learning curve.
Absolutely. So Manuel asked something. Are silk screen printers only compatible with Gerber files? No. So old school silk screen worked the same way that t-shirt silk screening works, right? You actually have a screen and, paint, and you're brushing it through this little pattern and whatnot. Modern silk screen printers.
The old ones still do.
We still do
Yeah.
that sometimes too, because you get higher resolution. But modern silk screen printers in a PCB shop are like inkjet printers. They can do multiple colors. They can do, bitmap. They can do it no problem. And that brings me up to Manuel's next question. Are you able to have full color designs on PCBs? Yeah. Sometimes I don't recommend it because it is a cost adder, but you can absolutely have multiple colors silk screen on your board. And some companies will have their logo 3-colored silk screen on their board that then goes inside a box that nobody's ever going to see again. It doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, you can add multiple silk screen layers, and have them defined in different colors. I've seen it done. I've never done it myself because, well, I don't want to pay for it, but it's doable. So, any other questions from we see Don over there. Hi, Don. Don says, hey to Don.
Hello.
Any other questions or comments from Emil, Brian, Jesse?
One person did scroll across the screen and they mentioned that dot is being halftone. It looks like Inkscape might have some rudimentary halftone stuff. So
The thing is, it would have to be able to generate those as individual circles on the SVG to come in, because the SVG converter won't do anything with I don't know. I haven't seen what Inkscape will do, but I guess it's a possibility.
Well,
somebody needs to write a better converter.
Yeah. Well, we can certainly share that in the course and in the Discord. Also, I was thinking about doing some office hours this week. Any suggestions on when?
I would say anytime during the night or anything like that. I think this time is pretty good because for me it's like, well, at least for North America America, it's good because it's like 9 p.m. and then for you it's like 6 p.m. So it's like good for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
6 is better than 5 because 5 is typically dinner time, and it just doesn't work as well for
A little too early.
us.
Any particular days of the week?
Not Tuesday.
Not Tuesday. All right. Well, I will probably do something, probably pick 2 days to give people a chance to ask questions. Oh, and we got a new PCB designer. Who's this?
The future.
This is Henry. He'll be the one playing with the project once it's finished.
Oh, how fun. Good for you, Brian.
Is there a mobile app for the course data?
Yeah. It's called Moodle.
Okay.
Moodle.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna check that. Play Store. I guess it's on everybody's Moodle.
Yeah. If you go to your profile, you'll see a QR code that if you scan it, it'll you can't automatically log in because apparently you have to pay for that.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
But you just type in your logo. I extended the session timeouts to 2 days. Hopefully we won't have troubles with that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a learner. Okay, and then you enter the site. Okay, or scan the QR. Okay.
Yep. Perfect. Okay, so I will schedule 2 office hours. So if you guys have trouble when I say you guys, not necessarily the people on the screen, but people in the course, if you guys have any trouble or you have questions about picking out parts, we'll be able to answer them for you. Oh, we've got another PCB designer. Hi. Bye. And then I will release the course content tomorrow in the late afternoon, early evening for part selection. What else is there? That's pretty much it. Please make sure that you are participating either at the course or preferably in the Discord. We're seeing a lot quicker back and forth in the Discord than we are in the course. So if you don't mind signing up for that, sign up for that. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the Advanced Assembly YouTube channel so that you get notified when these happen. We've discovered that I sometimes put in the wrong stream key and in broadcasting into a void, but fortunately people like Emil and Brian solved that problem for me. Thanks for pulling that one out, guys. And other than that, we're getting going. So start thinking about what your design's going to be, because that might impact your part choices, your part selection.
Should we check for like parts on the availability? Because I know like in Canada it's like DigiKey.ca, so it's probably not the same availability as the US. Or
you absolutely will have to do that.
Okay.
And there's a service called octopart.com that can search multiple suppliers for you. I don't know how that works in Canada, but I imagine it'll be the same. Is it the same digikey.com website, or is it digikey.cn or something?
CA, yeah, it's like DigiKey.ca. Usually they have less stuff. We'll see.
How's shipping to Canada?
From the US? It's not too bad.
There's no holds on anything?
Not that I'm aware. Like sometimes, but with the Christmas season, might be starting to be problematic. So yeah,
okay.
At the border.
Well, Emil, I've got a stash here, so if you have troubles, just let me know, and I'll send it out to you. Okay.
Cool. Thanks.
All right.
I do have one question.
Sure.
And it came up briefly on Discord, but since we've got you and Jesse here, the difference between matrix scanning and direct input for the buttons, preference, is it more or less a preference thing? I know Jesse said he did his because it could use the Adafruit MacroPad code easier.
Yeah, your layout will be easier.
I keep going
too.
back and forth.
If you're not going to be doing more than like 10 or 12 keys, there's no reason to do the matrix scanning with the Pico, because you just have so many inputs available, and then you have more of a code resource if you want to base it on their MacroPad. But there is a library that they use, which is a keyboard library that has keyboard scanning built in. You'll just have to use it kind of a different code base, I guess, a different library set. So layout will be easier if you don't, less components. So it's up to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm with Jesse. I initially designed this to be a scanning matrix type thing, and by the time I figured out how many parts I actually wanted, there was just no reason to. Like Jesse said, we could do direct connections, so I redid my layout so I could just have direct connection. So, okay. But if I was to make a much bigger one, I would do that. Something else too that you might want. Oh, I don't have an example available. Visit your local surplus, Goodwill, whatever it is that you have in your area. Sometimes you'll get those mechanical keyboards, and you can salvage, as many keys as you want off of one of those things. It's the cheapest source of keys I found.
I wish I had kept my keyboards. I had a large tote full of dead keyboards and decided about 3 years ago that they were not important anymore, that they would never get used.
Whoops.
Little did I know.
Like that.
So, all right then. Look for my announcement coming out tomorrow. I also will ask you guys to do a short demographic survey, just for the sponsors, nothing big, and we'll go from there. So I hope everyone's enjoying Teach Me PCB so far, and you've enjoyed meeting our guests today, Emil and Brian. Bye, guys. And Jesse, thank you for introducing yourself. It's nice having you aboard. I really do appreciate your time.
Yep, no problem.
So, all right. With that, You've got Mark and Jesse. We are more than happy to help you guys out on this wonderful journey. TeachMePCB. We are lucky to be sponsored by companies such as the Analog.io, Advanced Assembly, Royal Circuit Solutions, DigiKey. We've got Altium will be helping us out. We've got Keysight helping us out. And of course, Yuri Shaked with Walkwe. So thank you all. Have a great night, and I'll see you in office hours this week. Take care. Bye.